Hello all! How's it going, everybody? Rezi RNG here, y'all's favorite music-loving, yarn-spinning catboy, back at you once again with another music talk stream. Well, not a music talk stream today. How are you guys doing? How's it going? Eli, how's it going? How are you doing? Glad to see y'all. Yeah, so today, to celebrate us recently hitting 5,000 subscribers, which thank y'all so much for that. We are halfway to my whole, subscriber goal of getting to 10K subscribers that I've set for myself ages ago. Vastly overestimated my rate of growth, I guess. But regardless, I'm happy to have hit that halfway point. I'm happy to be at the size of a small theater. Like, if I were to go to a con and all of you guys were to somehow attend, we'd probably be able to fill out a small space, that shit's wild to me. So thank y'all so much, and I hope you enjoy me. I hope you enjoy my content from here on to come. We've got the next glam metal deep dive in the works, but also for patrons, I'm just about done my exclusive deep dive into Gene Simmons' production career. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, look forward to that coming real soon. But anyways, I suppose we can get into the meat of the stream today. I don't expect this stream to be going on too long because I still have some kinks to work out with that Gene Simmons production deep dive. But I do want to give you guys some time to ask whatever questions you may have about me, about my tastes, about the future of the channel, and whatever you guys so desire, as long as it's not too personal. I've got some questions already here from the posts that I made under the YouTube community tab, and from my loyal patrons from the $6 Orange Catboy Appreciator tier, because we love to appreciate our Catboys. But also as a little twist, I figured I'd give y'all some bang for your buck, some entertainment value today, and I wanted to make up that noodle stream I did as a reward for, what was it, the Internet Archive charity stream. We raised enough for me to do a spicy noodle stream then, and that was all well and good, but it wasn't really the noodles weren't really too spicy. I think I was used to that level of heat. But this time, I'm really excited this time. This brand, the Samyang Bulldog noodles, I believe, is the infamous VTuber Noodle Challenge noodle. So hopefully it kicks, at least gives me some pause eating it, unlike last time where I literally had to add hot sauce to the thing to get it to be a bit more hot, and even then it was more sour, if anything. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Let me go ahead here and pull up our first questions here. I'll take care of the Patreon ones first, because I love my loyal patrons that are paying me money every month to produce content that takes a snail's pace to produce. So as thanks, I'll have you first, but I think first we should start digging into the ramen. I'll ask the question sort of hot one style. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm going to ask the question, then take a bite of the ramen to respond. So first up, we've got Just One Before I Die from Patreon, and he asks, have you thought about what your next project will be once the hair metal series is completed? Fantastic question, and I will get to that right after this bite. That helped. I at least got some egg here too, so I'll be getting a little protein. Okay. All right. It's not blowing my mind so far with the spice, but maybe that's the sort of thing it'll creep up on me. But then again, I also what was it? I had kind of had that sitting there for a few minutes. It's really hard to like sort of prep food for a stream because like you want to have enough time to set up for the stream on OBS and all that, but you also want enough time to prepare for food, and it's hard to really balance that where the food sort of stays warm for a stream. But maybe that's just my code. Anyways, to answer your question here, just one before I die, your first question, because I allowed my patrons to sort of ask like how up to like 3 questions in one. That's the sort of perk you get if you pay me. But the first one he asked is, what have you thought about when next project will be at the Glare Metal series? Hopefully, hopefully I'll get to 10,000 subscribers before then, so I can start working on the next Kiss series. But in the event that doesn't happen, what I'd really like to dive into like a topic about prog rock. I think one particular band. I mean, I've made no secret about my love for Yes and like King Crimson and those bands back then. A story that I think would be really intriguing to dig into is the whole catastrophe around the Yes Union era. In case you guys don't know, that was like back when 80s Yes, they had I think that they got into some sort of scuffle, and John Anderson left them like after Big Generator to go join up with other ex-members, with like I think Steve Howe, Bill Bruford, and Rick Wakeman. Yeah, they got together as Bruford, Wakeman, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, Howe. I think it is like something something very very straightforward, just like combine all the last names of the members. And then after that, I think it sort of worked out with the record labels where they all thought, hey, what if we actually merged back into Yes and see what sort of music that produced. And of course the music was shit. Go figure, but there's also like a massive stadium tour surrounding it, which Bill Bruford was complete. Yeah, the funniest fucking thing about these old bands with like King Crimson and Yes, Bill Bruford is such a fucking sass master. I mean, I don't know. Some might call it snobbish, but I think that he's earned enough like respect as a musician to hear him out on some of the more maybe quibblish opinions he has. I don't know. That's one topic that I definitely love to explore is the Yes Union era. What else though? I definitely want to do another modern band at some point. Like I don't know. I don't know if y'all want to see me jump back into what is it, the Australian psychedelic rock scene. I know my King Gizzard videos are low performing. I would like to eventually pick back up the whole sort of live concert analysis. I mean, I'm going to see them again at Forest Hills in a few weeks, so hopefully I'll get some content out of that. But also I want to there's the one metal band from Texas, The Sword, that I've been like super into in the past few years. They recently got back together, which I'm really excited about. I hope they come back up to New York City. I would love to cover The Sword, sort of discuss like, because they got a lot of flack early in the day for just sort of being like a nostalgia revivalist doom, stoner metal act. Like, I think even, they had accusations of being, like, music nepo babies, essentially. I'd love to go and, like, give their career a fair shake, because I think they're a metal band worthy of a lot of praise, a lot of attention. It definitely should be very... I don't know. I would love to see more metal and rock influenced by the shit they did. The next question that just one before I died had was, what do you think of King Gizzard and the Wizard's last album, B741? Well, he said B471, but I know what you meant, buddy. I know what you meant. Let me just take another bite here. Man, oh, I tell you, it's not hitting me as much as I thought it would. It still is a bit. It's more so the flavor, the aura of the ramen that's getting to me. Like, whew. It is a hearty ramen. Like, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Samyang noodles, admittedly, but these are like big boys. I don't know if you call them like buckwheat. Like, what's the sort of ramen noodle that's like slightly girthier than the stuff you see in your standard like like what's the standard brand of ramen? You guys know what I mean. It's girthy noodles. I love girthy noodles. They slop up a lot of the the broth, and it's a very enjoyable, very pleasant experience. Which, I'm surprised, because I thought, again, this would be like a spicy noodle challenge stream, and I'm over here enjoying it. But go figure. But yeah, B741, Flight B741, I think it's a very, it's one of those albums that has really grown on me the longer the band have gone on the road with it. Because, like, yeah, it's a very standard sort of, like, blues rocky, like, sort of classic rocky throwback album, but also, it's really fucking well done blues rock and classic rock sort of shit. I mean, like, how do I put it? Like, a lot of the song structures on there, like, they're not so much your standard verse, chorus, but rather like variations on a theme, almost. Like, take for example Field of Vision, right? You got what is it? You've got like 3 different sections on that song, almost. Like, you got like what Ambrose is singing in the beginning, then you got like Stu going in, Joey, or even more obviously, like The Risk. It's like you had Joey going on first, then Ambi's section, then Stu, but it's all sort of still built around like the same chord progressions, and I don't know. I think that's neat. I think that lends a lot of like a lot of room for like improvisation and giving some things flourishes, and that's borne out in like the jams we've seen on the recent tours with like all they played last year in the States, and what they're currently doing now on the road in fucking Europe on their residency tours over there. Like, if you guys haven't seen any of the recent King Gizzard live streams, do yourself a favor and, like, I don't know, subscribe to the King Gizzard channel and wait for them to broadcast their next ones. They're going, I think, to Bulgaria next. Like, I think they're playing like a fucking 1,000-year-old amphitheater or something like that. Like a Roman amphitheater, basically, that's been converted into a modern facility. I had some surprise chef videos rocking while I was cleaning today, and the King Giz Iron Lug KEXP popped up. Hell yeah. I love those KEXP sessions, man. King Gizzard, they really, whenever they've stopped, like, on tour to play, like, one of those live radio sessions, they've always really rocked it down. And, those KEXP sessions, they're something special. I really hope they go back to KEXP soon. I think they're scheduled to play Seattle this year. They should stop back off at KEXP. My favorite personal King Gizzard KEXP session, I want to say, is still the one they did like back with the fucking I'm in Your Mind fuzz and the river. It's just it's so charming to see like Jesus, that version of King Gizzard is like 10 years old at this point. It's great to see like those like the young Giz heads back when they were really rising up to the top in America, just really rocking the studio down. But yeah, no, B741, it's Flight B741, it's a very enjoyable album. I really like it a lot. I think that you know, the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, and I'm not about to declare it like my favorite King Gizzard album, but it's definitely a high tier King Gizzard album. You know, it makes me want to listen to like more Rolling Stones, like if that makes sense. Like a lot of the tracks have that same sort of snotty, brashy drive to it. Like I mean, I'm especially thinking of like Field of Vision and like the sounds of like Exile and Main Street and what have you. But I really do enjoy that album. And we got one more question here, but let me take another bite. Guys, I think we have a problem. I think the spicy ramen isn't too spicy for me again. Man, I don't know what it is about my spice tolerance. I mean, I tend to have high tolerances in general, especially when it comes to catnip, but when it comes to spice, I never would have suspected that I would have built such a strong tolerance, especially because, you know, I'm a white/orange cat. But you know how it is. Hey, Fluffy Waffles, welcome to the stream. Glad to see you. I really loved your Kiss videos and can't wait for part 4. Me neither. You know, I'm excited to eventually hit that milestone where I follow through on my promise of delivering that next Kiss series. You know, the 90s is such an interesting period. I mean, not just for Kiss, really, but like for all those sort of legacy rock bands who are still trying to figure out how to really have a foot in like the musical mainstream. Like I was doing some research recently into part 3 of the glam metal series and looking into like how Van Halen and Aerosmith were still trucking along. It's really wild to see how like rock and metal, like in that sort of way. I mean, not to say they didn't have like non-ballad hits, but it was largely centered around the ballads of the time. Like, yeah, you had your "I Don't Want to Miss a Things," your "Cryings," your what was that one hit song that Van Halen had off Bounce? Your "Right Nows." You know, it's like a very it's like rock music sort of turned into adult contemporary almost. Like, you know, the shift of like of it being very adult centered, very boomer centered music really took hold around that time. And like the whole idea basically of reviving Kiss, like sort of taking them off the track they'd been as like their own distinct band, albeit, you know, riding trends in the 80s, and then fully steering them onto that goddamn what is it, nostalgia act circuit. That's something I really want to dig into and see, like how that transpired, how you know, what the after effects of that have been. But anyways, getting into just one before I die's question here, the final question he asked. Am I looking forward to Phantom Island, the next King Gizzard album? Well, those Aerosmith songs were co-written by Diane Warren. Oh yeah, no, Diane Warren and whatchamacallit, Desmond Child, all those Holly Knight probably too, like all those late 80s songwriters who worked with who worked with glam metal bands. They definitely left their sort of pop adult contemporary impact. Hey there, Gunky Zip, good to see you. And welcome, KCJC. I will address your question after I'm through all the Patreon ones. Welcome to the stream, though. Good to see you. Am I looking forward to Phantom Island? Yes, I think it's a very unique opportunity to see King Gizzard in collaboration with other musicians. When I mean, typically they're sort of insular. I mean. We haven't. I don't think we've had like a wide scale collab that King Gizzard's done with another musician since. I mean, I guess you could count. You could count like the Tropical Fuckstorm and the Satanic Slumber Party EP as a collab, but like with the King Gizzard's own music, they haven't worked with other musicians. I want to say since like Polygon's Wonderland, since. Well, not Polygon's One. Yeah, Polygon's Wonderland, because that had Leia Sr. since Murder of the Universe, Sketches of Brunswick East, that collab with Mild High Club. And now they've got like this full fucking orchestra that they're bringing on to do like chamber pop, like funk rock, probably a bunch of other like really neat stylings that I can't even fathom right now, but the whole notion of them like being able to explore all the different layers of an orchestra, I'm really excited to see what the album sounds like overall, and I'm even more excited to hear it live. Like I said, I already have tickets to go see them at Forest Hills, and they'll be coming through with an orchestra, and it's gonna be really fun hearing those cuts live. So then we've got Dr. Adam here. Dr. Adam is a collab partner of, not just a patron of mine, but he has collabed with me before on the videos. He's provided voices for a few characters in the deep dives in the past, so I'm very much excited to take his question here. As a creator, you have significant reach, both in the number of people who enjoy your content and the positive impact you have. Do you ever struggle to wrap your head around it? Good question. Let me take another bite here. You know, I wonder if the real pain is in the broth, and that's why I'm not getting so much spice right now. Like, I don't know how much of it's diluted into the noodles. But to address your question here, Dr. Adam, I mean, like, like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the stream, it's really surreal to think that I have enough people who follow me where, you know, if I announced an event well in advance, I could probably fill like a some sort of small event space, like not necessarily like a theater, but maybe a hall, maybe a small hall. Like I've been to conventions before where they've had like rooms with an occupancy space of like maybe 100 people. Like if I went to a convention someday, I could maybe draw that much, but I don't know. That's maybe being a bit egotistical. What convention would I even present at? Like, is MagFest? Then again, MagFest has their own controversies. I don't know if I want to associate myself with that. I don't know. It's really humbling, I want to say, to be in a position where thousands of people look to your opinion as something they want to listen to, they want to tune into, they want to sort of gauge, to compare against their own, even, like, I'm happy that you guys always want to hear what I have to say. I mean, even if you're all even if you're not all here for, like, certain artists that I present, like, I'm still grateful for those who choose to choose to expand their taste by looking at artists I talk about that they wouldn't really like, typically. I don't know, it's it's really humbling, and I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to sort of share my own perspective, to share, like, these un relatively undiscussed parts of music history, to share my own interpretation with them. It's really nice. Mm, Excuse me. Ugh. Um, it's real to hear stories about folks listening, even though, of course, it's a blessing and all. I mean, still the most wild experience I've ever had. It's I sort of elucidated it towards the end of my Fall of Kiss series, of course, but getting a tweet from somebody who was like, "Hey, my dad discovered your series, and we bonded over we bonded over the Fall of Kiss series because he wasn't really familiar with YouTubers, but I like it." That sort of shit's always humbling. I always long to create a community, not just for like-minded people to sort of find solace in, but also just sort of bring people together. I love whenever I'm able to do that, whenever I'm able to, like, for the fucking, what was it? The Internet Archive stream. The fact that I was able to, like, just by holding the stream and setting goals and having an audience that trusted me, I was able to raise, like, a decent sum of money. I mean, like, 440 or something, I think it was. Not that big in the long run, but it was still money that I raised on my own initiative with my own audience, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to have a platform where I'm able to do stuff like that. That's something that I hope that we can keep on accomplishing in the future, as not just as a community, but growing across YouTube, getting more fans. I really want to do another charity stream at some point. I was hoping to get involved with like another Dark Souls charity stream and commentating on that this weekend, but I don't know. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen. But that's whatever. I definitely want to do another charity stream at some point, though. I think I'm long overdue to do something good again, especially with how bad things are this year. 21st Century Guy, how's it going, man? Been a while. What's good, my dude? How you been? I have been quite well. I'm quite happy to have hit 5,000 subscribers. Once again, thank you guys so much. Yeah, no, just chilling, and kind of disappointed that these spicy noodles that I'm eating are yet again not as spicy as I was as anticipating. But I think with that, we have basically answered all the Patreon questions I got. We can start moving over to YouTube, and since I don't want to keep you waiting too long, KCJC here, I think I will answer your question first. Do I have any specific venues for concerts that I really like? Of the ones I've been to in the past, I think my favorite, or at least the one with the most positive memories associated with it right now, is Forest Hill Stadium in New York. It's a very it's a stadium with a lot of capacity, but with ticket prices that are somewhat reasonable for my for my caliber at least. I mean, they're getting more expensive with King Gizzard by the year, unfortunately, but the past two times I've seen them, and now I'm gonna see them a third time this coming August. It's just been like phenomenal vibes, a nice open air. Unfortunately, it rained one of those days, and I got some some of my King Giz merch soaked. But it is a very enjoyable, very spacious venue. Unfortunately, it's positioned near like a row of neighborhoods somewhere where I think it's like a bunch of NIMBYs have been complaining to like local authorities about the noise levels of this coming from the stadium. Like, bitch, you chose to live near a sports stadium knowing it's going to host events. That's on you. Like it's a very it is a very fun venue though. I also definitely love going to see a show in Madison Square Garden. That is a very privileged thing to get to do though. No, right? I've been sleeping a lot earlier than usually, but glad you're good. Congrats on 5K. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, Madison Square Garden. So I've seen some stellar concerts there in the past. Like one of my first ever concerts actually was getting to see Metallica back in Madison Square Garden in like in 2009, back when they were doing their Death Magnetic tour. I saw them, and I think it was like Volbeat and Lamb of God open for them, and it was a phenomenal show. Very, very cool set, very cool effects, and I think they did it in the rounds. Then I saw, what was it? I saw fucking David Gilmour. Yeah, I keep bringing this up on stream. I saw David Gilmour because my cousin had a spare ticket because his girlfriend was unfortunately sick, and yeah, it was a phenomenal concert. I got to cry my eyes out when he sang "Wish You Were Here." I got to experience the Comfortably Numb encore. It was phenomenal. It could have been worse than living in Candlestick Park. Oh yeah, Candlestick Park. Health, welcome Richard G. Good to see ya. Tell you what though, I would have loved to see that final Beatles concert at Candlestick Park. I'm sure that would have been like a once in a generation opportunity. It's a lot of noise from this. Yeah, no, it's fucking ridiculous how snippy NIMBYs can be, I've never been to MSG, but my parents saw Kiss there during the reunion. Oh my god, I'm sure that must have been incredible. I don't know. Because I feel like if I would have tried hunting down for tickets before they broke up, they would have been like fucking too expensive for me to even consider, but I do wish I would have gotten the chance to see Modern Kiss at least once. Just to get a handle of how they still operated their live shows these days. But I don't know. Like I said, like I said in the Fall of Kiss series, I'm not the biggest fan of at least Kiss after like the 80s, So I don't know if I would have enjoyed that experience as much as somebody else who's like full-blown Kiss Army, What other venues do I really enjoy? I don't know. I tend to go to a lot of like smaller shows because I'm a local musician in the area. But New York City's got a lot of really nice places. Forest Hills and Madison Square Garden especially. Tell you what though, I really want to go to Madison Square Garden one of these days and see like a basketball game. I've kind of become a bit basketball pilled this over the past few years, and especially with the Knicks being as good as they are now, I have something to root for in New York City. So please Knicks, be good next season. That is all I am asking. Anyways, let's move over to some of our, looks like I accidentally X'd out of the community tab thing that I had open. To me, the last notable concert was 2003's Alive 4. Oh, yeah. I mean, they still had, they brought in Peter Criss for that, right? Okay. I saw Modern Kiss on the Live 35 tour. Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that must have been neat, like getting to hear a recreation of Alive. You know, especially before the time when Paul and Gene really began to lose their voices and rely on backing tracks. Like, I definitely feel definitely feel a bit of envy there for people who got to see them before that point. Let's see. You got Mr. Troll de Mort here, asking me here. He says first, he loves my mix of music retrospectives mixed in with VTuber collabs, and thank you very much. I'm glad somebody else appreciates my my music talk streams, keeping y'all tided over until I'm able to get a deep dive out. But his question, he asks me, what video games have I been playing recently? I need some new recommendations, and I'm curious which ones you have been into lately. Wait, Ace Frehley was in Alive 4? I'm pretty sure that's Tommy Thayer, because Ace was out by that point, wasn't he? I think his last gig with Kiss was oddly enough the fucking 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. It's like the most random final gig to leave a band on. Oh, the Millennium concert. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But video games, yeah, let's see. I've spoken a lot about it lately on stream, but I've been playing the video game Yarg. For whatever reason, I've just gotten like super good again at like Rock Band guitar, or like Guitar Hero guitar, five fret guitar as the community calls it, you know. I'm not at the level, granted, where I can tap or anything like that. God, I wish that were the case. But I'm definitely a lot more dexterous in my fingers than I think that I've ever been in my career as a rhythm game player. You know, like I've been having a lot of fun playing yet another rhythm game. So if you have a PC good enough to run it, if you have like a spare guitar controller, or even like a MIDI drum kit, I think it's like compatible with a bunch of different MIDI kits. If you're able to set it up, you know, I definitely recommend checking out Yarg. It's a very fun, especially as like if you've got like a bunch of instruments in your own house and you got like people to play it with. I'm sure it'll be an amazing party thing. Tommy Thayer wasn't alive for? Yeah, okay. I figured as much. Other than that, you know, I'm still been playing a bunch of Pokerogue. You know, something I've really come to appreciate recently is like fan-made video. Well, no, I wouldn't say that I've appreciated them recently, but like I've really been like sort of exclusively playing fan-made games. I haven't really bought a video game in a while, like on Steam or anything like that, which is a shame, because there are some really cool games out there now. Like there's that one French JRPG, Expedition 33, that looks pretty neat. And of course I want to buy a Switch 2 eventually, and maybe Doom the Dark Ages, but you know, it's video game costs are going up these days. Games are costing like $70 more regularly. Fucking Mario Kart costs $80, and the Switch is like hella expensive. So I'm gaming on a budget. I'm gaming with fan-made video games these days, and they are doing me just fine, honestly. Well, I barely started getting good adult strumming. Who knows when I'll be good enough to tap? Oh, yeah. No, it is, It's definitely a struggle to build up. I've heard a few different songs. Like I think there's like a Gojira song that supposedly gets you pretty up to shape with tapping, but I don't know. I'm still very much the sort that just likes to that likes to one-hand it, you know. Uh, gonna take another bite of my ramen here. Oh. Note to self: add a little thing of sriracha to my bulldog ramen the next time I have it on stream. Apparently that's what I need to really start coughing and feeling pain. Waiting for Tony Hawk 3 and 4. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've never of course I remember going to people's houses and them playing Tony Hawk, but I never really grew up playing the original Tony Hawk games. I'm glad they're seeing like more love these days though. And I'm especially curious to go back and check out those earlier titles since they eventually parlayed that engine into Guitar Hero 3 Neversoft. So I'm curious about that for sure. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if there's any other video games that I'm really looking forward to right now. Like I said, geez, I just wanna buy Doom: The Dark Ages because you know I've loved the hell out of Doom 2016. I love the hell out of Doom Eternal. And I know when they introduced ray tracing into Doom Eternal, like it wasn't really too efficient for my PC to run then. So I'm kind of worried about my prospects of running Doom: The Dark Ages. But eventually, if it gets into a place where it's a little more optimized, where the ray tracing doesn't break my computer nearly as bad, or if I'm somehow able to afford a graphics driver upgrade, I don't know. I have no idea how to do any of that upgrade shit in my PC. I'll probably have to, like, call some guys from Micro Center or whatever if they're the sort of... Like, does the Geek Squad do delivery? I don't know. I don't know if the Geek Squad will even come see me since I didn't even buy my computer from Best Buy. Late to it, but picked up Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Oh, yeah, I've heard great things about that one. That's the rhythm hack and slash, right? Yeah. Who would want a Tony... What would a new Tony Hawk be? Oh yeah, the fucking Tony Hawk's existential crisis. I love those memes, like where everybody's just trying to ask Tony who he is, or like Tony Hawk, boy, wonder what he's doing now, and he just says this. I kind of regret not getting into skateboarding maybe when I was younger, or at least playing with it more. I don't know. I was a very fragile kid, like back in the day. Didn't really trust myself on anything that would really do me seriously bodily harm. So, you know, I never engaged in karate. I never learned how to ride a bike. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I could have done if I touched grass a bit more, but I don't know. I found a lot of solace indoors. Probably oh yeah. No, like I think what would be cool, like skating is an Olympic sport at this point, right? Like I feel like we should have a game centered around all the recently introduced Olympic sports, because it's one thing to have, like, you know, your Mario and Sonics at the Olympic Games where they're doing like the relay races and swimming and all that stuff, but like Give me, give me like Sonic and Friends, like doing ollies off of a fucking incline or fucking what else? Uh, they can even do breakdancing. Like breaking is a fucking Olympic sport these days, and like whatever game next tries to adapt breaking that doesn't feature a cameo from Ray Gunn, they are missing money on the table there. Shout out to Tyler. Oh yeah. I think it's interesting. I think King Gizzard, actually, their music recently got into some skate game. I don't know if it's Tony Hawk per se, but I think Gila Monster got into like a game, which, it's really fitting music for skating. Ambrose is a skater, and I think like Jason Galea also did some skating too. So I don't know. It's very fun stuff. Gojira played at the last Olympics. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Which I'm still so happy that performance won a Grammy. Like if any metal performance was deserving of a fucking Grammy, it's probably that one. Okay. Let's see. Gonna drink some broth here. Okay, yeah, I was right on the money. It's the broth was the roughest part. Oh man. See, you know what I need to do next time I do one of these spicy food streams? I need to see if there's any Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Gila Monster will be in Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's fucking sick. I'm glad that's happening. Yeah, next time I do one of these spicy noodle streams, I need to, or spicy food streams in general, I need to find like my nearest Thai place and see like if they're doing one of those like spicy peanut curries. Like that shit usually fucks me up when I eat it at like a restaurant, like have you ever had a spicy food? Well, I sound like I'm describing this like it's not a common occurrence for like super spice, but have you ever had something like so spicy that it feels like you're high? Like I don't know. I really want to really feel like that on stream. Like I want to eat a food that knocks me on my fucking ass in front of however many viewers. you know. With appetite for this, hey Floodzilla, good to see you. With appetite for destruction, how that mixed feeling experience come? Well, I really have to give like the musicians credit in Guns N' Roses, right? Like it's the sound that they produced on Appetite for Destruction, even to an extent on like the Use Your Illusion albums. It is no nonsense, no bullshit, no frills, like hard knock rock, with a bit of funk and R&B influence too. Like I think it bears stating that like I think it was like Izzy Stradlin that told somebody that like once Matt Sorum got in the band, like the feel basically was gone. Like Steven Adler, even if he was like a druggie, even if he was like a drunk, even if he was like fucked up on all sorts of intoxicants during his time in Guns N' Roses, he and Duff McKagan were like the glue that held the rest of the band together. And then you had like the stellar guitar work of Izzy Stradlin paired with Slash. I don't know. They made for a really good duo together. It's a shame that Izzy left so soon in Guns N' Roses history. I don't know. I guess a lot of my aversion for some of what's on Appetite for Destruction really stems from Axl Rose's influence. Like the dude really really comes across as like a putrid asshole on a lot of the stuff he's written, and you know what he's done in real life, sort of off that reputation, hasn't helped matters. You know, that's especially gonna be it's gonna especially be relevant as I go into part 3 of the glam metal retrospective and start talking about Use Your Illusion and how Axl really starts trying to like open himself up on those albums, which, you know, conversely came like right around the time where he was really being exposed for some heinous shit, and you know, getting away with some heinous shit. Like God forbid, you know, God forbid we forget like all the fucking bullshit he did, you know, being late for gigs and like walking off mid-set and jumping into the crowd to you know, you know, it's like, I don't know. I would eventually be curious to see like I would be curious to see like what Guns N' Roses can do in like an album setting these days, because like they have Slash and Duff McKagan back at the very least. It's not quite the original lineup, but it's enough where they could probably feasibly get away with a return to form. I know for sure they're not following up on the fucking Chinese Democracy sound. I feel like Duff McKagan and Slash would put a pretty hard veto on that. I know, furthest I've gone is crying and stop floating on my nose. It was some damn good curry. Oh, no, I've had an experience like that too. Oh my god, I remember I was like some ramen place in fucking Baltimore that I went to for Otakon one year, and what was it? Yeah, I had this like thing of ramen. It was so fucking spicy. I was just like fucking like sobbing in front of, you know, not just my friends, but I think there's like this fucking Estonian tourist that we were paired up with and like sitting talking with, and I was like, I'm sorry if I'm confirming any stereotypes about Americans right now. I'm staking my time. I apologize for that, Mr. Big Era. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I try to pair. Whenever I get these band photos on the internet, like they don't usually come with identifiers for who's who, so I try to line them up as best I can with other photos from the band members from that era, but sometimes it doesn't exactly work out. One of these days, I need to really sit down and like make a video sort of correcting like all the errors I've made in my videos. Maybe just go back and pull from comment sections and see if I can address anything that I've gotten wrong. I forgot LA Guns said to replace Guns N' Roses. Oh, that's totally something I could have talked a bit more about, the Guns N' Roses Iron Maiden conflict. Maybe that was something I left on the cutting room floor for time, but I definitely was seeing a lot in my research about how, Axl was feuding with Iron Maiden, like, around that time. I definitely think it will be good to bring up next time, too, like, maybe talking about when he was making things difficult for other bands that Guns N' Roses were touring with. You fucked up in the band that tried to do new metal and failed, or making fun of you. Yeah. Now, Guns N' Roses, they had a sound that worked. It's just a shame that Axl Rose got so egotistical and put his hands so much on the band that they just completely changed sounds. Oh, yeah, Maiden, yeah. Maiden's had their own share of feuds, though, haven't they? Or at least, I know they they had a little mini rivalry with whatchamacallit, with Judas Priest, and then, like, got into conflict with Sharon Osbourne over Ozfest one year or something like that. I remember that. Uh, let's see. We got another question here from the community tab from Sean Kagalis. He asks, do I have any favorite toppings, or do I feel that plain cheese is the way to go? Sort of referring to how I've been talking in my video, A Good Game, about New York pizza. I'll tell you what, I've, usually for economic reasons, I tend to just go, like, plain cheese, but lately, my band has, ever since I've moved, elsewhere in the city, I've had to really sort of consider like staying down in the area where my band rehearses a few hours beforehand, just so I can like get some work done and have some dinner. So I've been trying to go to like, I don't know, more restaurants, and having a bit more like pizza lately, from other parts in the city. And I definitely think that you can't go wrong with a good fucking pepperoni. Honestly, I think it depends on what my mood is. I'm just as likely to go for like chicken broccoli ranch or something like that, or like buffalo chicken, or hell, give me a good fucking meat lovers. I love that. Anyone who's an enemy of Sharon is a friend of mine. Sharon! Oh my god. I never watched like the Osbournes growing up at all. Well, it might have come on like when I was, because I used to have like a cable subscription, or my dad used to have a cable subscription that had like VH1 and like all those sorts of MTV offshoot channels. I'm sure it came on, but I don't know if I ever really sat down to binge that. Same with like Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, like. Was never that big into the rock star reality shows growing up. Pizza wise, can't go wrong with a good fucking pepperoni. The last few times I've had pizza at a pizza shop, I've gotten pepperoni, and the one place it had the pepperonis that sort of curl up, while the others, I don't know if the pepperonis stuck too well to the pizza on the second place, but when you got a good pepperoni pizza going, baby, that is something special. What's weird too is I keep getting all these ads for like Little Caesars and Domino's. They've recently introduced like fucking stuffed crust pizzas into their lineups or whatever. And I'm just over here thinking, why would you order a pizza from a chain when you live in fucking New York City? Like, just go out to a local shop and get a fucking slice for like however many dollars, Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn the lights on here. Oh yeah, Sharon getting in conflict with Bruce Dickinson. That was wild stuff. Man, it's a shame that Ozfest isn't still around. I mean, granted, that was probably always going to be a temporal thing. Like, realistically, how many Ozfests can you have with Ozzy Osbourne still at the helm of it, right? But like, I don't know, you probably could have done some sort of spiritual successor. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that, God, I hope they live stream it. That one Black Sabbath show, the final Black Sabbath show happening in Hyde Park. I really hope either they live stream it or at least, film the whole thing for later broadcast. Because I definitely want to see all of what goes on there. 1 second. I'm gonna try to finish off these noodles, I think. Huh, that was satisfactory. Bulldog Samyang noodles, 10 out of 10. Would recommend if you like your spice. Although if you are expecting it to be like super spicy food that people create clickbait thumbnails out of, it's not quite that level, I'm sad to say. My brother works at Little C's. When he makes him a pizza, he makes them with love. Oh well, I'm I'm not doubting like the efficacy of the Little Caesars employee who makes the pizzas. I'm sure they're I think I actually had like Little Caesars, but like a few years ago, living in New York, and it was pretty decent stuff. But I don't know. I feel like just on average, I feel like you're more likely to see I don't know, pizzas that don't fit the mold as much if you go up to your to a New York pizzeria. As pretentious as that sounds. Didn't White Zombie or Marilyn Manson headline one year? I'm not sure. I wouldn't doubt that they were on the bill. Oh yeah, no. I don't know if it was Sharon, but I definitely think she was involved in that story with George Lynch. I know Ozzy picked Jakey Lee over George because he was the tastier guitarist. I forget what Sharon's role was though in that. And welcome, Jukebox Cowboy. Good to see you. Currently playing the new Def Leppard themed album by... Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Oh, I was implying it because no problem, 21st century guy. Admittedly, I used to be a huge Domino's freak back in the day. Like back during college, especially. Oh my god. When I got like fried with some of my friends there, we would always we would pitch in for like a Domino's, and usually try to get the what was it, the cinnamon so the cinnamon twists or whatever it is, the cinnamon bread that's like the cut, and you get like the glazed frosting sauce on the side. That shit fucks you up, man. Oh my god. Yeah, if I had to have like a favorite pizza chain, it probably would be Domino's, honestly. But Dio's Dream Evil and Rainbow's Rising. Oh, nice. I love Rising. Rising is probably the most underrated 70s metal album. I mean, it's hard to say that when when a lot of 70s metal is relatively underrated, but I really do feel that Rising laid the template for a lot of how metal definitely grew from that point forward, especially with Ronnie James Dio. Like, oh my god, without Ronnie James Dio, you do not get power metal as it currently exists. Ronnie James Dio, Richie Blackmore, and I guess the lyrics of Robert Plant too, like his whole incorporation of the conflict of the Lord of the Rings into the lyrics for Ramble On, Battle of Evermore. Didn't have some nice words for Rising. Huh, interesting. I mean, that whole period of like Dio in Rainbow, it was kind of shitty, like sort of how Richie ran the band, right? Because he essentially took the band Richie was in before, Elf, and he booted their guitarist out and became their new guitarist, and that was Rainbow. And then he kicked out the drummer and the bassist and kept only Dio. And then he got into conflict with Dio, which resulted in them bringing on, I think it was like Graham Bonnet or something like that. So, yeah, just Richie Blackmore is a very interesting guy when it comes to artistic collaboration. And I think like, isn't he in a new lineup of Rainbow? I know I saw like a live video of them like from some years back, and it was all right. I mean, I guess if anybody's into Rainbow, they can go see them for some nostalgia points. But I don't know. I'm not too enthused about modern Rainbow. Side 2 was overindulging crap. Really? Well, I don't know. Stargazer and the Light and the Black are probably the best, probably the best cuts on that album, if you ask me. Let me see here, though. Blackmore. I imagine him sitting in his castle right now, just angry. I mean, yeah, making medieval folk music with his wife in the meantime. I've never listened to like any Blackmore's Nights. I'm curious to see what it sounds like, but then again, I'm not exactly thrilled at the prospect of listening to like straight medieval revival music, you know. I'm sure Blackmore delivers like some stellar performances on it, but nothing that I would appreciate. What are the worst glam metal albums I've listened to? So far, probably Pretty Boy Floyd's debut. That was pretty up there in terms of badness. Wasn't really thrilled by Warrant's debut. Of course, I'm not the biggest Poison fan. Their albums have never really clicked with me in that way. And oh god, I know I haven't even, really scratched the surface of mediocre glam bands, because we're about to dive into some truly bottom of the barrel shit in 1990 and 1991, but it's crazy how watered down the glam sound got as soon as like Bon Jovi came to the scene, as soon as like ballads really became the hot ticket item to get you into the Billboard Top 40. Yeah, I don't know. I really hope that we find some undiscovered, or rather unpolished gems in the next episode. Stuff that people don't often talk about because it essentially got buried by the rising wave of thrash and grunge. Let me see. Yeah, I guess that's all of the questions that we had from the community tab, from Patreon, the chat. Do you guys have anything else that that you guys want to know about before I log off for the night? I'm just about done with my noodles here, and I think I'm gonna get back to editing the Gene Simmons deep dive just to make sure that's good to go for my patrons soon. End of the 80s glam wave is just lots of blood and cheese. I'm a sucker for... I'm very interested to talk about Firehouse, because, I agree. Don't Treat Me Bad, it's corny as hell, but it is a fun song that I remember being really into back in the day. Firehouse, they had hits on the Billboard Top 40 well into the 90s, so, like, if there's any exploration of how glam metal really sort of turned from, heavy metal into, like, adult contemporary ballads, there's the analysis. The analysis begins right there. Best use of headbands. Interesting question. I could be generic and go Mark Knopfler. Obviously, he's very fucking iconic with his use of headband. But, Neil Peart also. He Did he have a headband? Because I think it was more like he had a cap on, like for his final. I think a beanie for the final Rush tours, but I think he had a headband at one point. In terms of heavy metal headbands, I don't know, hard to say. I think, the members of Rat, they had some pretty dope fashion when it came to all that. Like, I think in my research, they called it pirate chic, that sort of look. I really do enjoy Rat's sense of fashion, though. Oh yeah, Chris Cornell, definitely complained about Dokken. It was actually on the topic of the 1990 Grammys, I believe, and how Dokken were nominated that year for Beast in the East. And Chris Cornell. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the actual quote real quick, because I'm gonna bring that up in part 3. Let me see. Fallen Aftermath. Yeah. Direct quote from Chris Cornell here. I have no idea why they called Dokken metal and put them in the same category we're in, Chris Cornell said. I don't think they have a clue, referring to the Academy. And it is really interesting, like, the nominations for that year. Let me go see. 1990. So, unless I'm mistaken, that was also the year when... No, it wasn't. I'm thinking of something different. The year before was when Metallica got snubbed for Jethro Tull. The other bands nominated that year, it was like Faith No More's The Real Thing, Queensryche's I Don't Believe in Love, just the song, Metallica's One, which ended up winning, and then Soundgarden for Ultra Mega OK. Very interesting. Let's see. I missed a lot of questions, a lot of chat activity happening tonight. I'm really happy. Let's see. Best crotch piece. I have not looked enough to know it. I'll just say Blackie Lawless's Buzzsaw and move on. Best ugly rock face made by a bass player in a music video. That is a really specific ask. I am not sure. Autograph the band, Fight or Flight. I will say I haven't listened to enough Autograph to give them a definitive conclusion. From the Autograph I have heard, they're decent, but not really anything to get gassed up about compared to, a bunch of other hair metal bands at the time. Oh yeah, the song to album Grammy nominated. Yeah, it's crazy how they did that for so long. 21st Century Guy asked, what are my thoughts on the upcoming final Soundgarden record? I haven't heard that they're doing a posthumous Soundgarden record. Let me see. Is that a thing? Huh. I don't know. If Soundgarden were to go through with doing another album, I don't think they would but I don't know. Estates and record companies can be greedy sometimes. I really hope that they I really hope they do it justice, at least. I don't want I I don't want Chris Cornell's final unreleased recordings to be done dirty. Like, I think fucking there's a posthumous DMX album coming out soon with a bunch of guests on it that he probably would have never been seen rapping with. So as long as they don't fuck it up like that, I think that'll be okay. Video for Treat Me Bad uses the same set of Souls of Black? Oh my god. That's funny. Joe Elliott, should he remain tied in that? Are you talking about the Foolin' video where he's up on the top of the tower and he's like sort of in the Jesus Christ pose and he's screaming like, "Is anybody out there?" Last thing we need is for Chris to get the Juice WRLD treatment. Absolutely, like it sucks to be so blanket against the idea of posthumous recordings, because I don't think I don't think blanket wholesale that artists probably never would have wanted their unreleased recordings to never see the light of day. Like, granted, there are definitely artists out there like Prince or Michael Jackson that would have liked to have more of a say over it, and that should always be respected. But as long as an artist has plans that they want their loved ones or friends or family to follow through on, I don't really see the problem. And I do think that I think that music deserves to be heard. Let me see. I noticed that Prince fans try to speak for a dead man they never met. I mean, I don't know. Prince was always very particular about ownership of and creation of his own music, and he had that fucking massive ass vault locked under Paisley Park of all of his unreleased recordings that we're probably never going to hear the entirety of, if I'm being honest. Maybe, if we're lucky, the Prince estate will donate those recordings to an archive to be preserved for however many years under strictly confidential conditions, limited public access, that sort of deal. But I don't think that I can't imagine that they would ever compile a massive ass, Mac DeMarco-esque 500 track box set. I just don't think that would be that'd be feasible. But yeah, I think that's all y'all are wondering tonight. I think I'm going to end things off here. Thank you once again for coming and celebrating this 5K Q&A. Again, as I said at the top of the stream, it's so surreal to me to have this many people following me and to know that we're only halfway there to the end of the fucking to the end of the sub goal that I set for myself a few years ago. I cannot wait to hit that. Yeah, let me see here. I think no, I'm alright. Interesting. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna check to see who's live here in my YouTube feed so I can raid into them. I'm surprised Aya does not. Oh well, it's whatever. I think we're going to raid into Kendra. She tends to be a favorite of mine to raid into here, since she's usually she's usually alive around the time I do these. I just found out what it. Oh Jukebox, come on. And thank you, Richard G. I'm looking forward to getting that video out to you guys when it is good and properly ready. You know, I've already begun work on it, but do not expect any more solid updates on that for another little bit. But yeah, no, thank you all so much. You're gonna join me with raiding into Kendra's stream. We're gonna go in with a cat raid, so feel free to copy paste that when we go over. Let me just position here. And thank you all so much. I hope you all have a fantastic night. I'm going to go work a bit more on my Patreon exclusive deep dive and hopefully post that soon. And I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.